Welcome back from the break. I'm Harmeet here at the Phoenix Theatre in London to speak to the cast and crew of Bend It Like Beckham, the musical. Aa jao sare. So I've got the very glamorous and talented Priya Kalidas and the lad who really likes Beckham. First of all, congratulations on the musical.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Priya, you've been in musicals, TV, stage, the list goes on. What's different about Pinky?
Oh, gosh, Pinky is such a great character to play. She's fun, she's feisty. She's actually got a lovely sweet side, but she's just an interesting character to play for me because I tend to play quite straight characters, particularly on stage. I've always played like the heroine, so you know, the serious girl. But for this, I can have lots of fun.
And how have you prepared for the role?
Learnt my lines, which is a good start. Well, we did the workshop, so I think that was a really good preparation for the musical. It's material that I'm very familiar with, so it's nice to have fun with that on stage.
Yeah. Your accents are spot on. I was watching a preview, and without revealing much, I've noticed you've recreated the Southall accent, and there's certain words, and both of you are emphasizing on that. How are you maintaining that accent every single day?
I don't know. It just comes quite naturally to us. I mean, we find ourselves kind of talking like it when we're not on stage as well, which I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but I've sort of tended to say "in it" quite a bit now. Even when I'm not, when I'm at home and stuff, and I'm talking to mum and dad, I'm like, yeah, I know, Dad, in it.
Yeah. Apparently I've become really Southall as well, which is...
Jamal definitely has.
Yeah.
Like sometimes he says something and he's talking quite seriously, but he says it in a deep Southall accent.
Can't help it. Well, I grew up in Watford as well, so that's not too removed from the Southall culture. So it's, yeah, I'm really familiar with the accent already.
Do you take that accent back home?
Well, I do, yes.
Yeah, I mean, and then it gets slapped out of me from my mum. She's like, "What are you saying?"
You've recreated 2002 on stage. Was it weird, like your hairstyles, the white trainers, everything? Was it weird going back into time? And how do you keep up with reality?
It was actually really exciting, especially when we're doing like the costume fittings, and they were sort of, I mean, my first outfit is a juicy couture pink tracksuit, which I remember seeing Jennifer Lopez wearing. I never actually had one myself, so it's quite nice that I thought, oh, never got to wear one of these, and now I get to wear one.
What about you, Jamal?
Well, I feel really ghetto in my outfit. The Evisu jeans definitely helped me get into character and really takes me back to that era.
Yeah. What do you do if something goes wrong on stage?
Well, it's live theatre. Something is bound to happen, and it actually already has. But, you know, we're a great team and we really support each other. We've got a fantastic crew who work backstage, who manage any situation that occurs. But, you know, it's, as they say, the show must go on.
Have you ever had a bad scene or a chance where you've forgotten your lines?
I've never forgotten my lines, fingers crossed so far. But I guess when something goes wrong, you just go with it. That's the beauty of live theatre. And also, they always say the beauty in art are the mistakes. So I guess you just go with it and let it work to your advantage rather than letting it affect you.
I'm sure you've forgotten "in it" the other day.
I've forgotten "in it," which is crucial. Shame on me.
So crucial.
You're acting, singing, dancing every single day. Surely it's taking a toll on your health. How are you keeping up with it?
Well, you know, it's really important to look after yourself. And, you know, there's certain things that I've had to stop eating, like dairy, because it really creates a lot of phlegm. It's not very good for singing. I've had to steam. I steam before the show and after the show, drink lots of hot drinks, lemon and ginger. So, you know, had to change the diet. But also it's important to eat and to eat well and get lots of rest.
What about you, Jamal?
Well, I find for me, working out really helps because that naturally then bleeds into everything else. So if I work out, I eat well, I drink lots of water, I sleep better. So I think that's a really good foundation for me.
Give me one tip for all the aspiring artists out there.
I'd say persevere, do what you love, and don't let anyone hold you back.
Do what you love. What about you?
I think going on from what Priya's saying, persevere, work hard, and just do what you love at the end of the day. If it doesn't make you happy, do something different.
It's all about following your dreams and your passion. It's Priya Kalidas and Jamal Andreas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, the person next to me does not need an introduction. It's OBE Gurinder Chadda. Sat Shri Akal, Gurinder.
सत श्री अकाल जी क्या हाल है
Badhiya. 13 years ago, you made history with Bend It Like Beckham. Now you're back with the musical. What's different this time?
Well, this is all singing, all dancing version of that story. I think this version is a lot more emotional, much more immersive. You know, the audience, because it's live theatre, the audience feels very much part of everything. And I think that, you know, the family feel like your own family. So it's a completely different experience than the film.
You've got a very interesting cast. You've got some very experienced people, and you've got some newcomers who are making their West End debut. What was the deciding factor when finalizing your cast?
Well, I think for musical theatre, you need people who can act, sing, and dance, you know, in all the leading roles. And so that's hard to find a lot of Asian actors who can do all three things. You know, we got lucky because most of our actors, you know, can do all three. But those opportunities aren't often there for our actors, you know. But I was delighted to have found some new faces, particularly Rekha Soni.
Rekha Soni.
His missus.
Yeah, that's my missus.
Who does an amazing job throughout the whole show, but she has one particular moment where she brings the whole theatre to a standstill and everybody claps, you know, and she's one of the new talents to emerge out of the show. I'm very proud of that.
We're all very proud of that. Bend It is the story about Jess, who's turning 18, and she has to choose between her dreams and her duties. Has this got anything in common with your childhood? And what was your dream at 18?
Well, I think my dream at 18 was to do things differently, to not do what was expected of me as an Asian girl. And the story really is about how we, as young Asian women, you know, how we had to sort of follow that path of trying to keep everybody happy, including ourselves and our parents, you know, and the community, and how sometimes how hard that is, you know, without having to sort of resort to the fact that, you know, you had to run away from your parents to do what you wanted. That wasn't the case of most of us. Most of us, the case was that you find that middle ground, you find a way. And then also parents are not like some of the parents before, you know, where parents also understand the pressures on their children and also try and find that middle ground. So I think it's a very beautiful story about how, as a community, you know, you're forced to change sometimes, but also how you willingly take on the changes, you know, to keep everybody happy and to keep your culture alive.
Tell me about the music. There's a strong influence of the Indian culture. You've got Punjabi folk songs. Tell me more about the music in the musical.
Well, I wanted it to be a British West End show, you know, because most people who come to the theatre, you know, are generally non-Asian, right? And so I didn't want it to be like a kind of Indian show in that way. I wanted it to feel very much that it would fit on the West End stage. So what I did was work with an amazing composer, Howard Goodall, and the lyricist Charles Hart, who wrote the lyrics for Phantom of the Opera. And with them, I introduced them to a lot of Punjabi music, a lot of the things that I love. Simran is there too, Gurdas Maan, you know, a lot of stuff. And they basically went on that journey with me and learnt a lot of what I loved, you know, that my passion for it. And then Howard then went away and thought about it and came back with his version of that. So those influences are there, but in a very Howard Goodall way. And also Kuljit Bamra joined us, and Kuljit and I have been friends for about maybe 30 years now. And so we kind of, you know, that also helped bring that sort of Punjabi flavour into the whole thing.
This is the first time you're directing a musical.
Yeah.
How is it different from directing a film?
It's very different, very, very different. And you work with your team differently. And I think that my musical could not be what it is without my amazing team around me, you know, my composer and lyricist, who I mentioned, but also my choreographer, Alita Collins, did an amazing job. My designer, Miriam Bota, my producers, Sonia Friedman, Deepak Nair. I mean, you know, between us all, I think, and Paul Burgess, of course, you know, between all of us, it was like a really proper, true joint effort. And that's what I think you see on the stage.
What was your family's reaction when they saw the musical?
Well, my mum was very tearful. because I said at the end, I hugged my mum and I said, I made it for you and my dad, and I think she, was quite emotional about it because there's lots of little things in it that are about my dad, but my cousins, some of my cousins have seen it and they were like, I can't believe it. It's so good. I can't believe it. So that's good. I think their expectation, they didn't know what to expect, And I think what they saw was their own lives, actually, on stage in a way that they weren't expecting.
It's interesting you said that because that's exactly how I felt. I was watching a preview and without revealing too much, you just connect instantly. You feel like that's my story.
Absolutely. Well, I think if you're a Sikh, I think it's very true because Guru Nanak Dev Ji plays a big role in the show as well.
Finally, which football team do you support?
Now, that's interesting. In our show, we have some professional footballers who come on every night, and they are from Tottenham. They're Tottenham ladies. So right now, I think I have to say that it's Tottenham Hotspurs.
Thank you so much for this, Gurinder, and good luck.
Thanks so much, Amit. Thank you.
In the famous words of the leading lady, I didn't ask to be good at this. Babaji must have blessed me. Go and watch Bend It Like Beckham, the musical. It's awesome, yaar. This is me, Harmeet, saying goodbye. Keep watching B4U.